Good. So the webinar has started. Hello, Dan. Hello, Peter.
Hello.
Hello. Peter, where are you? Where are you broadcasting today from?
From Pécs, our home city, Hungary.
Okay, good. From Pécs. And Dan, where are you located?
Bucharest.
Be more specific.
Okay. Locked in the house. What can I do?
Okay, cool. So we will wait for 2 more minutes because it's like 1:29. So just to give people some time to actually attend the webinar, to join in,
yeah.
And then I think we can start.
Yeah. Maybe you can also check in real time what's the attendance at each point.
Yes, I'm on it. Let's see. Okay, so people are starting to join in. That's good. I can see everything in real time. This time then I hit the right buttons. So we are broadcasting. It's not like the last time when we started a little bit late because of the buttons that we have in this GoToWebinar. But now I think everything is all right. I can see people that are already attending and joining in. So that's good. Good. So briefly, what are we going to talk about today? We are going to talk about the digitalization process of the learning structure that there are in companies. So nowadays, since all of us are quite remote, it's really important that the development or the learning and development programs must evolve to a better solution, let's say, not exclusively done in offline. This is the reason why we have today invited Peter, which is our partner from G4B. Hi, Peter. Okay, and we have Dan, who is also our partner in bringing the G4B solution in the Romanian market. So, since the floor is already updated and with all the information here, I will give the floor to Dan for the first 10 minutes of the webinar, 10-15 minutes depending on how fast Dan is with the presentation. So we have a couple of slides prepared for you guys, and afterwards we will switch to Peter, and people will deep dive a little bit into what the G4B can deliver for the trainings or for the L&D programs or for the development programs that we can actually put within the digital platform that we have, which is G4B. So Dan, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you, Andrei. I prepared a short presentation, not that short, around 17-18 slides, but I will go as fast as I go through it because 4 weeks ago we had the same format, let's say, but on different topic about onboarding, and at that point we focused more on the theoretical level. But in the meantime, we received information from the public that they would like to see exactly how it works, the solution. So this time we will focus more on how it works. So the floor will be most of the time to Peter. I will make just an introduction about us and about the businesses we are representing now in Romania, starting this autumn. So who we are one team. At the basis, we are 2 different companies, AIMS Romania and Exploratist, and we both are strategic partners for G4B on the Romanian market at this point. Who we are, AIMS, it's an executive, basically it's an executive search company, active on the Romanian market for more than 25 years. We have offices here in Bucharest and in Timișoara market. And we are known for offering HR and recruitment services for middle and top management positions. Andrei, if you would like to introduce your company.
No, you are You are doing a perfect job. Go ahead.
Okay, exploratives. We met in this project. We at AIMS were in discussion with the G4B, and we were introduced by G4B to exploratists. They are the first employee experience agency in Romania, which delivers integrated HR, marketing, and digital services expertise, and they are covering the entire life cycle of the employee within the organization. So basically, these are the two teams, and together we represent and support G4B presence on the Romanian market. What is G4B? G4B is basically a digital learning platform with gamification elements, and which is awarded at the international level. It offers gamified digital platform with support of knowledge transfer to the employee. This would be in a nutshell G4B. I will let afterwards Peter to say a bit more about it. Unique selling points we have, and G4B has two types of focuses. One is the employee-centric, and the other, as you will see in the next slide, it's stakeholder-centric. The employee-centric approach means that we are delivering learning experience elements using this platform, which will enhance engagement and motivation for the employee. It increases the attention span because we are working on short modules and we are focused, and they can approach the learning process on stages. The data is accessible in various ways, either on mobile phone, tablets, laptops, PCs. The learning process is autonomous because the user decides when and how to consume the content that is delivered on the platform. Because of the fact that employee need constant feedback, there is a virtual coach which is 100% present in the application. And we also resort to the engagement by recognition and reward modules, dashboard, leaderboard, which, as you will see, are both on individual and team level. Now, in what regards the stakeholder, first of all, it's a SaaS type solution, which means that your IT department will not be involved, or will be involved in a very limited phase to implement the solution in the organization. It's flexible, modular, scalable according to the company's needs and development phase. You can see that it provides lots of reporting, so you can follow up, you can see what your employees are doing and how they are doing it. It's GDPR validated, which means that, of course, the information is quite secure, and on the other way, it's very easy to integrate it in what you have within the organization at this point. It can be SAP, Moodle, SCORM. These are only a few of the examples. Now, what type of projects were implemented in business areas so far? Obviously, since we are representing the company G4B in Romania only for a limited period, we are at the beginning of our experience and journey on the Romanian market. But in Hungary, our partners for G4B had employer branding projects for BP and PricewaterhouseCoopers. Also recruitment and attracting for Deutsche Bahn and KPMG, onboarding for NN, cyber services, learning and development for SAP, Erste, Coca-Cola, Intesa San Paulo, and retention also for BP. Regarding the impact, you can see that the impact could be traced and say scaled on different areas. In terms of recruitment, it was a 140% increase growth in recruitment. The sales in some of these projects increased up to 50%. What is also very interesting is that the learning was not anymore a chore. It was more likely a voluntary learning, and as we know, in some cases, more than 50% of the learning took place outside the working hours. So it was really a voluntary and pleasant activity. The retention increased 18%, and the number of applicants in some cases increased 190%. So these are a few figures that we have at this point. When is it appropriate to use this solution? First of all, if you have information that you should transfer rapidly from the organization to the employee, and it's very important that the employee will remember this information. Second, if you are interested in differentiating your employer brand and offer new solutions and way of learning to your employees. Since last week, we talked also about the onboarding. It should be noted that it also has a pre-onboarding phase, so you can also interact with the future employees before they start in the pre-onboarding phase, and you can already help them to accommodate to the new working environment. If you want to increase the retention level, as I showed previously, it led to an increase of 18% in retention. In some cases, the compensation and benefits were linked to the learning process. So if you want to align this CMB initiative to the learning process, and of course the last one I think is the most important, and already we have to resort to it. Work from home was last year more or less desirable. Some companies were saying yes, but most of the companies were reluctant. Now we are talking about work from home, remote working for most of the employees, and I think that even after this pandemic, this will remain the situation, the reality. And how do we cooperate? Do we offer? So we have the two parties. On one side is the technology level, which is the part of Games for Business, which comes with a platform and helps you to set up technically the platform, users management, training for the administrator from the companies, and will also help you with the products training. And we are here, AIMS and Exploratist, with a consulting side, meaning that we will support you and guide you and be with you in identifying the needs, in designing the learning process and the micro-learning, in copywriting content. So whatever you have as a content can be translated on the platform. So in a few words, this is us and our support. Andrei, if you could give the mic to Peter.
Yeah, thanks, Dan, for the short presentation. So the main goal was to get a glimpse of why we are doing this and what G4B stands as a solution in Romania and for the Romanian market. And now I will give the floor to Peter, who will be presenting us the solution itself and also accessing the live demo environment for us. Peter, go ahead.
Thank you very much. Okay, so this is actually just a joke. But as Dan said, maybe these masks will not stay with us for next year. Who knows? Most of us probably hope that it's not going to stay that grim. But digitalization in learning is something that is probably not only changing the landscape in 2020, but actually probably for the next decades to come. Obviously, this year has generated changes that affected the training industry, internal learning departments very heavily. Minimized personal contacts that we have experienced have made traditional trainings virtually impossible, or possible only virtually, if you like to say that. But what is training digitalization beyond having Zoom calls or Skype meetings or online webinars? Because at Games for Business, we believe that training digitalization, there's a lot more possibilities in how to engage people, how to move beyond just delivering the same format in a digital way. So I would like to share some of those elements, some of those tools that we believe can benefit your organization or basically any organization. And before I show you the live demo, I would like to just give you some basic background information about the kind of tools that we apply in our platform in order to make learning more engaging. So let me summarize the main elements that can benefit the training departments. And we can divide, I think, these into three main groups. The first being how to support learning, as this is basically the main goal we want to achieve, and this is the main strength of our platform as well, to provide learning modules, learning content in an easy to digest, entertaining format. So in the first block, I will show you the functions that support this goal. Secondly, I want to show you how we can support the process management, because I think it's important when we move to the virtual environment, we need to support learners as they engage with the different digital systems individually, to support them to understand the process, to make processes clear, transparent, easy to understand, because that's going to affect the efficiency, of course, and their engagement level as well. Because you have to think about the fact that in digital learning, most of your users will use these systems completely on their own. So basically, these algorithms in these systems, they need to digitalize the know-how of trainers with which they can lead the trainees through the whole development process. And then we have the third group, which is basically the engagement tools. At Games for Business, we believe that we need to put the user in focus. So we need to think from a user's perspective. So our key question is, what will motivate the user to participate and to complete the learning process? And we apply different external and internal motivational elements, tracking of development and comparison, benchmarking. But I will show you, I will explain a little bit more in detail these different elements. So let me start with the first part, learning support tools. Basically, these slides are intended to summarize the capabilities and the options that our platform provides, but of course, I will also show them to you in the demo to make it more live and vivid. So the primary goal is learning, to transfer knowledge, and we apply a micro-learning mechanism for that in order to provide new information and also to assess the knowledge level of people through different mini games and quiz-based engaging little interactions. With these, we provide focused content in short learning cycles, which is more motivating than long, hour-long processes. So that's one of the first elements in the learning support tools. The second is basically simulation. Create environments where users face different challenges, different decision-making scenarios in a virtual environment, and they can apply the acquired knowledge that they have acquired through, for example, through microlearning. They can basically apply that knowledge in a virtual and safe environment in a risk-free way, basically. And it happens in short cycles as well, where instant feedback and evaluation is provided to the user. And I want to show you a quick, very brief example, like not even a minute video, which exemplifies how digital learning can happen through microlearning and through simulating these different practical application possibilities. So let me play the video, and I hope the transfer is going to work well enough.
Welcome to Revenue Poly, Coca-Cola HBC's virtual world. Revenue Poly is an online business simulation game full of challenges that can help understand how to reach our strategic objectives and how to grow our revenue in an ever-changing environment. In this playful simulation game, you are Coca-Cola HBC's chief decision maker, and you can shape the story in which you maximize transactions, the revenue, and the volume sold. Evaluate your customers' performance, analyze market dynamics and competitive activity. Listen to your advisors and make business decisions that affect your consumers, shoppers, and customers. A series of mini-games will help you capture the RGM-related knowledge necessary to make the best decisions throughout the game. Discuss your decisions with your team members and become the most successful commercial team. We will recognize your efforts with individual and group prizes. Seize the opportunity. Learn, think, play smart, and become an RGM expert. Be part of Coca-Cola HBC's success.
Okay, I hope that you were able to follow this little video that gave you an example of how we can use simulation in a learning process also, besides micro-learning. And then the third element I wanted to also highlight is situational practice, basically complex decision tree exercises, which can be simple business scenarios, dialogue scenarios, like call center practice, various client type situations, or sales examples, HR scenarios, feedback culture, leadership development, etc., etc. So the application possibilities about regarding what kind of content you put into these simple dialogues, it's basically limitless. And users receive constant feedback during these processes in order to learn from their mistakes and learn about the best practices are. And then, as the last element, I also wanted to highlight that Games for Business believes that learning is more than just processing digital learning contents, processing micro-learning content. We also believe that there's a lot of things that happen outside of a learning system, outside of the classroom, if you think in traditional terms, where with on-the-job tasks and activities that you do together with your colleagues, or you download an application and engage with it, or you watch a webinar. So there's a lot of tasks and activities in real life outside of these learning systems that are not part of the traditional training process maybe, but are very important in terms of the development process. So our system also has a function which helps users understand what are the activities and tasks that are either recommended for them or expected from them in a learning process. That way we coach the user's behavior outside of the learning system as well. And these can be, activities that they do in another system. It could be shadowing activities with their colleagues, team tasks, and they are broken down, easily trackable and understandable from a user's perspective, what is expected from them at what stage through an algorithm. And there is also a validation mechanism behind these activities where their peers or their line managers can confirm the completion or validate the completion of these different activities. So let's move on to the next important phase. As I mentioned, it's very important that the learning process is transparent, clear, and consistent from the user's perspective. So all the information provided in the previous block are crucial to be visualized in the proper structure with the right process guidance to the users. And there are three main areas that can be useful for trainers. First of all, diagnostics, the assessment of the background knowledge of users in topics, self-assessment and soft skills in various scenarios, peer and leadership assessment, and then basically based on these, we can create a personalized process, and we can provide the contents for the learners based on these results. That brings me to the next one, next point, personalization, because it matters whether you're a senior colleague with lots of experience or a new joiner in the company. The algorithm of the system will assign the relevant learning contents for you based on your user group or based on your assessment results. And then thirdly, I also wanted to mention the process control elements. Basically, users progress in the system along preset conditions. Mandatory and optional elements are also in the system. Everything is timed, scheduled, there are scheduled events. And basically, with the process support, what we're trying to do is basically transfer the trainer's knowledge or know-how into an algorithm that takes over the job of the trainer and guides the user through the process, guides the learners through the process. And then lastly, and that's where gamification and our engaging unique tool comes into the picture mostly, is the engagement support, how we can engage people, how we can motivate them, because it's crucial in any training process that the trainees, the learners, should want to develop. So their interest, their openness, their curiosity is key for the success of the learning process. And one of the key strengths of our platform are its unique visuals. You know that packaging can fundamentally define our attitude towards a tool that we intend to use, towards products and services. So it's very important how it's visualized, how the user interface is, how easy it is to use, and how user-friendly everything is. So as you saw from the Coca-Cola example, and as you can see from the screenshots, and you will also see from the live demo, we offer various visual interfaces. Basically, we can customize the visual side of the system to a great degree to accommodate corporate brand identities or even different organizational processes. And we offer some ready-made narratives, ready-made frame stories, if you like, which are usable by default, and we can also create visuals that represent the goals of the organization, and basically can also strengthen the connection to the employer brand. My next point, instant and continuous feedback. It can also provide great motivation, especially if it's connected with virtual and physical rewards as well. We even provide rewards in the system for the expected performance, but of course you can provide even higher level, more differentiated rewards for any outstanding performance as it improves. The next point, tracking of development in the process. From where to where is the user progressing? How has their knowledge improved in the different areas? And they can compare themselves to their previous results. They can beat their own high scores, and they can also compare, maybe if it's allowed in the organization, to their environment, to their teams, to their departments, so that they can engage in competition, or they can even create team competitions, which can also create engagement. And then the fourth element I wanted to highlight is user interactions. It's more exciting to interact with your peers, with your colleagues, than only software on the other side. So in the system, as I mentioned, we have team functions where you can join teams and then compete against each other. Users can create one-on-one knowledge battles between each other, and they can challenge each other in knowledge quizzes. And as I mentioned also from the real-life activities, there is interaction, because when I record an activity, I can ask my colleagues or my line managers to approve the activity, to validate the activity for me. This creates a joint sense of responsibility, basically. And we can send feedback to each other as well in the system. So these are the main blocks, the main areas where we have been and we are able to successfully support our clients, different companies, training and development processes. And so what can you benefit from this digital tool? Basically, you can make your trainings independent from location, from time, basically completely independent from the traditional training structure, because it's a flexible online tool, accessible from anywhere on any device, as Dan has already mentioned. So let me show you how it actually works through a live demo, and I will switch over to my browser window in just a moment. Hopefully you can still see my shared screen. And I want to briefly explain to you what you can see on the screen, how learning is structured in our platform. So when you start your learning journey, I mean, obviously here you have different learning topics laid out in front of you, and you can see that the user interface is very different from what you would expect from a traditional LMS system, a learning system, corporate learning system, because we try to lift your employees, your learners out of the traditional work context and create a gamified, engaging environment where they have motivation to engage with content. And they process, as I mentioned in my slides, they process knowledge information through different simple knowledge games, we call them mini games, where they can test their knowledge, or you can learn new things through different micro learning modules. So there are games that provide new information to the users, and then are also games that are also that assess information, like the quiz game that I just shown you. I mentioned also that we have the so-called activity function to help the user understand what are the tasks, the everyday activities I can do outside of the learning system. And here you can see some examples. These are actually examples taken from our digital competence training solution, which is a digital awareness training that we provide as ready-made content in the system. And you can see that here are some examples of activities that we recommend the users to do, like reading books, learn languages, maybe through an application, and we provide all the necessary information, the videos, the links, the documents that are related to the activities. Users can download them, and they can then simply record the activities in our platform, and they can track and receive feedback from colleagues about their recorded activities. As I mentioned, there's also engagement, basically engagement support tools. Users can collect lots of different rewards. For example, they can collect badges in the learning system, which will reward them for outstanding activities. These badges can also be translated into certificates that they could download and print. They can use these virtual rewards, their collected points, to redeem for actual physical prizes, which could be, a simple merchandise item, a voucher that they can download and print and maybe use. Any kind of incentive that an organization can offer to its learners, to its employees, can be either purchased here, or they can purchase raffle tickets, so-called tombola tickets. Maybe it's a more appropriate word for Romania. We call it tombola in Hungary as well. And they purchase the tombola tickets, and then they increase their chance to win a certain prize. So that provides also an external motivational elements to use the platform. Also, the learners have the option to personalize their learning journeys, to choose different avatars, different tools with which they can speed up their learning journey, and this way create internal motivation where they can progress faster than their colleagues, and they can be proud of their progress. So all these elements in these graphic environments, in these frame stories, are intended to increase the engagement. And as you can also see, the entire learning journey is divided into simple learning stations. We call them here in this one. You're traveling through a galaxy from planet to planet, but obviously the learning stations could be entirely different as well. Let me actually show you some of our default frame stories, where you can check out. Besides this space traveling, this space adventure theme, we have also other types of visual environments. Like we also offer like sea adventure default environment. We also have an urban adventure, traveling from city to city. We also have an office type of environment, maybe to make your employees who might miss their office a lot engage in this environment and live, experience the office a little bit in that regard. So these are the main functions of the learning system: to transmit knowledge and assess knowledge through the microlearning, to engage the user to to complete real-life activities and tasks, and to create the engaging motivational mechanism around it that guides the user through the process step by step and provides feedback and rewards in order to motivate the user to progress. And what I also want to show you is a sneak preview of the next generation, and another format how we plan to transmit knowledge in our learning platform. Basically, I'm going to show you a beta version of another setup of our learning platform. But before I move on to that, I want to ask Dan if any questions have, or Andrea, if any questions have already arrived, and maybe I can stop a little bit and answer some of your questions that might have already come up.
We have some questions, but we will take them later on because they are not related to what you have presented so far. So let's go ahead.
Okay, so I will continue them, and then at the end I will of course answer your questions. So let me then move on here. And you can see that here you're seeing quite a different environment that I've shown you in the previous demo. In the new generation of our demo, we are basically able to connect even the CSR activity of a company with the development, the learning progress of an individual learner. And the way we do it is that, as you can see here, we have a motivational environment here. Basically, it's connected to planting trees, because Games for Business has decided that we want to contribute to making the Earth, our planet, a more sustainable place. And basically, we will plant trees for every single user that you add to our platform. And the users themselves, they also have the option to collect different trees and plant different trees in our platform. and that way use this, or even create even forests where they collect different kinds of trees, and use this as a motivational element. And we actually have the option where the users, they can actually plant real trees in real life in order to connect their learning performance to something that is good for the environment, something that's beneficial, and could be even connected to your company's CSR activity or sustainability culture or value. In this new platform, this sort of motivational side where the learners progress and they find different treasures and Easter eggs in the platform as they progress in their learning journey. They basically have more sort of freedom on what they want to do, because the learning structure is not a linear learning structure that follows, you know, like station by station kind of logic where you move from one learning station to the next. But in this system, you have more freedom in terms of how you want to do your learning. And I will explain in a second how we do it. Let me actually go back to the main screen. We have a recommendation panel here, which basically recommends or highlights any kind of new contents that have not been processed by the user yet, any kind of challenges that I have been maybe invited to, or any kind of things that the algorithm thinks that is relevant for the user. But as a learner, I can also decide here, instead of moving from learning station to learning station, I can go and check out what kind of mini games are already available for me, and I can run those different mini games. I can watch the related videos in the system and download the relevant materials. I can check out all these different learning contents that are available for me, or I can decide that I want to engage in a dialogue, do like a best practice exercise, going through a process of learning how to do, I don't know, like how to do a sales process or how to do a customer relationship exercise. Please keep in mind that what I'm showing you actually is like still a beta version, so not everything is final in this system. But I wanted to show you some of the options. Of course, we also have the activity function available in the platform with all the real-life activities that we can engage the users to do, and they can record these activities and collect their rewards for these activities and their validation. And we can, as I mentioned, create battles or challenge other users in the system to individual knowledge battles in order to see who's best, who's better. I can select a colleague and then I can just challenge them for a simple knowledge battle, and can run this quiz, and then we can compare each other's results at the end of it. Okay, and this new system also offers more options for personalizing our profiles. For example, choosing different avatars. As you can see, we can actually put a lot of Easter eggs into the platform, have seasonal avatars, special avatars. Of course, badges and the reports are also available in this system, and we can also collect extras in the system. Like, you know, we can purchase for our points extra lives if we, you know, in order to perform better in the game, or maybe some extra time that helps us complete the game with a better result. So we can purchase different extras also from the virtual points that we collect in our platform. I hope I was able to give you a brief understanding of this new type of the new types of possibilities, but at the same time show you also the way how specific linear training, where the learning contents are structured sort of in a linear way on top of each other, can also be achieved through like this step-by-step traveling approach. So that was what I wanted to share briefly to give you a sneak insight and a short demo of the different systems and the different possibilities. But I would much more like to answer your questions and talk about the things that you are interested in than just continue talking myself.
Good. Thanks, Peter, for the presentation and for the live demo, and also showing us bits and pieces of the new platform, because we've also taken a look at what the platform is going to evolve into. For questions, I would kindly ask participants to actually put all the questions in the Q&A session, in the Q&A tab that they have on their screen. A couple of questions for you, Peter, that already were received while you were presenting. The first one is the platform available in multiple languages?
Yes, the interface of the platform is already available in several languages, and of course it can be translated to any further languages. And the contents have no limits. So basically, the kind of the learning contents can be integrated into the system in any kind of language whatsoever. So we can support multi-language. We already are supporting projects where same kind of learning process goes on in 5 or 6 different countries. So yeah, so we can totally support global or international interventions.
How do you see the industries that are taking this platform within their organizations? Are there industries mostly from the services side, or do you have manufacturing also?
Very good question, actually. In the beginning, most of our clients came mostly from the white-collar environment, from service centers, banks, financial companies, telco companies, engineering companies. But more and more we are starting projects where retail, or for example, the Coca-Cola example that you saw, which I showed you the brief video, is actually an example of a mostly blue-collar environment, because Coca-Cola is a production company, although they also have sales operations in Hungary. And in this project, actually, we were surprised because the blue collars who don't sit in front of the computer, so they don't have the chance to engage with the digital system all the time, they were actually more active in the platform than their white-collar colleagues. And even in the banks, we have a very heterogeneous group of people. We are not only servicing to people who sit in front of computers, but customer relationship, front office, back office, and different kinds of people there as well. And as mentioned, also more and more we are moving to retail and other environments. And we have lots of projects that are also public, that we did for NGOs, for educational purposes. So in our experience, age or basic, or also your work background doesn't really influence the fact how much you will engage with the platform.
Okay, thank you. Also linked with this question, the previous question is the next one as well. If you are talking about blue collars and white collars, with what type of platforms did you integrate G4B platform in the past?
For most of our major, I mean, especially with the big clients, most of our systems that we integrate for big clients are connected to their existing either HR databases, Active Directories, sometimes SAP, or Moodle-based learning systems. So we can create these connections or these integrations. As I mentioned, activities that are done in other systems can also be rewarded and tracked in our system as well. And we have even managed to increase engagement on traditional Moodle-based e-learning systems, for example, at Generali, by connecting it with our system, because our system was providing the process support and the engagement, and it motivated the user to also engage more with the traditional learning platform. So yeah, there's been a lot of examples of integrations between various corporate systems.
Okay. Next question is in regards with the design and with the instructional design side of the trainings. What type of services are available from your side, or what are you responsible for, and what is the customer supposed to do, or what type of effort does the customer needs to actually put into this?
Okay, well, actually, this we could answer jointly, because together with our partners, we not only deliver, of course, the software, but we deliver a lot of services alongside of it. You know, it's helping the whole transformation or planning of the learning, of the digital learning process. It's important because many clients don't have too much experience with gamified learning processes, so they need some support in how to transform it. And luckily, we have lots of experience and very good partners to work with to support the clients in this consultancy, basically. We and our partners together, we can also support the clients with creating or transforming their existing learning contents into these micro-learning formats. We also provide internal communication support, because if you introduce a tool to an organization, it's also very important and key that you communicate internally so that people are aware and they know that they have this benefit, that they can use the platform. What else did I forget? Sometimes we even handle the users for certain clients if they don't have the resources for it, and we can support them also with the reporting and analytics if they require. So I think it's pretty much a completely comprehensive service package that we can provide along the software.
Okay, thank you. Another question is in regards to the timeline of deployment of such a solution. So how fast can it be deployed within the organization once the customer approves the project? And of course, what is the minimum timeline contract-wise of such a project?
Okay. Well, we had even implementations that lasted less than 4 weeks, even 3 weeks in some cases. Obviously, it's not realistic to say that that's how quickly it always goes. But basically, because we're talking about a ready-made platform with ready-made templates, ready-made frame stories, and ready-made processes, it usually depends mostly on our clients how quickly we can implement the platform. I would say that typically about 2-3 months are on average required, where the clients collect the learning materials, we design and plan together the learning journey, we integrate the learning materials, or if necessary, transform them, and set up everything and test everything. So usually 2 or 3 months are quite enough for that. Even a customized project like the Coca-Cola example, which I've shown you in the video, I think took less than 4 months. It was around 3 months also to create that project. So even with customization, we can be very quick because we have templates and processes, and they build on an existing system. So there's no challenge in that regard. I would say that it really mostly depends on how quickly the clients can prove and collect everything. And coming to the second part of the question, typically our clients sign, well, at least 1 year, but typically about 2 or 3 year contracts with us, because obviously if they start using a digital tool, they want to use it in the longer term to see the benefits and to develop it, constantly add new contents. And it's very typical that our clients, they start with a small pilot project, and then as they see the benefits, they keep adding new contents, new user groups, and expand the usage of the platform internally. That's what Generali has done, where they started with an onboarding project, for example, and then they moved on to their digital academies. Now they also do their this digital awareness training, which we created the content for. They also use that, and various other topics are also added to the system. But also there are examples of very short, so there's no minimum interaction or like contract period, because in some cases there are clients, like recently together with Aims and Exploratis, we did a project for a company called Big Defender to engage people at their event. So as an event application tool, we integrated the platform very quickly in a matter of a few weeks, and they only use it for a few days as a post-event engagement tool. In this example, the contract is for like a 1 month project. Even the Coca-Cola example that you saw, it was a 3-month-long campaign. So it wasn't a multiple year-long learning project. It was a campaign for one specific learning content that needed to be delivered in a given time.
Okay, thanks for all the answers. One more question for you, and I will finish with one question for Dan, also from the audience. Is the platform self-manageable by the admins that are employees from the organizations? So can it be self-managed within the organization?
Absolutely. So our clients, we of course provide the workshops and the trainings in order to train them to how to use the platform, but they have the freedom to download their reports, handle their users, change the contents, update or manage the contents on the back end of the platform, the prizes, physical prizes, for example. And of course, if they want, we can support them in this process, but they can totally manage these things on their own on the back end of the platform. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Peter, for all the answers, because I had a couple of questions that that pop up. Now, one final question for Dan. Dan, we have a question from the audience that that is in line with. Let me see. If there is a demo platform available for users to test it, and if yes, how can we actually do that?
Okay. Yes, the answer is yes. What we did in similar cases is that we discussed with the company's representatives, and we went together through the demo, so we could guide them and show them around. And of course, after that phase, if they wanted to test it within the company with other colleagues, we gave them a username and a password, and they could also use it for a certain period of time. So yes, the answer is yes.
Okay, so it's a two-stage process. First, we make a presentation, then the second we give access to the users to that environment, right?
Yes.
Peter,
for sure.
do you want to show something?
I just clicked the button by accident. I'm sorry. Is everything right?
You
are sharing your screen. I thought that you want to jump into to make another demo or something.
I thought, yeah, you were so eager.
Yeah.
Am I still sharing my screen?
Yes, you are sharing your screen.
Take care what you have on the screen.
Yeah, it's not a problem. Okay, so if we don't have any other questions, let me see. No, I think these were the questions. Then I think we can wrap it up a little bit earlier. Peter, you were on fast forward with your presentation, so that's kudos for you, because we are 10 minutes a little bit earlier. Dan, thanks for the presentation. Anything in regards to the follow-up after this session, Dan? That's a question from my side, not from the audience.
Yeah, I wanted to say that's from you to me. Yes, of course, we will make a follow-up with all the participants to ask how it was and if there is something interesting for them. And of course, for the ones that find the solution interesting and would like to have access to this demo, for sure we'll have one-on-one conversations with the participants.
Cool.
And
good.
Yeah, I want to add that if the audience, anybody in the audience is interested in any of the case studies, the examples that we have done, we can share all these things also with them. I'm sure it's possible to do as well.
Mm-hmm. Yes. The system will send an automatic email with the video recording of this session. So every participant that has attended this session will receive that video from us as a follow-up system, or as a follow-up stage. And then probably that what we will do, Dan, together with Peter, we will send to you guys. Peter, you are sharing your screen again. We will send you guys at least one use case that Peter mentioned today, and at least one other use case with some results, because I think it's important with this type of system to bring to the table the results, because results are quite important. And I know that what we have seen so far with all the other implementation is that we have some really good results with G4B in L&D platforms and programs. Good. So I think this ends it. Thanks again, Peter. Thanks again, Dan, and thanks everybody for joining today in this live session. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of the week.
Ciao.
Ciao. Bye bye.